I want to share with you some information about the most incredible beans that we have available to eat, and they're called mung beans, and they're very popular in Ayurvedic cuisine. And we have two types. We have the ones that are with their hulls on and the ones that have been de-hulled. So in essence, they've had their skin, their jackets removed. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about the two different types and the slight differences between them, as this is a question I often get asked. So first of all, generally mung beans, whether it's the hulled ones, the ones with the skins taken off, or the plain ones with their skins on, they are relatively readily available now. You can buy them in a lot of supermarkets in the UK, and certainly from whole food stores. So whole food stores online pretty much across the globe, they're relatively easy to get hold of. And I try and look out for organic ones. Often I don't really specify about organic nature of things, but because these are basically really kind of like a medicinal food, getting the highest quality, the highest vibration of them is really fantastic. So mung beans in general are very easily digestible. They're the one bean that will suit most people, most constitutions, and they should find that they can digest them. And that's where some of the differences between these two come in. So mung beans in general, in Ayurveda, we say they pacify both or mitigate both kapha and pitta, and just very slightly increase vata. But to be honest, by the time you've put spices with them and you've cooked them down properly, the effect on vata is very minimal. They are light, they're dry, they're slightly astringent, but it's in that astringency that where their magic lies. So they help draw water. They've got quite a lot of potassium in them, and they help draw water. They act as a mild diuretic, and they pull excess water from out of different parts of the body. So if there's edema or swelling in the legs, then mung is really great at helping to draw that out. So that's why quite often in Ayurveda you'll hear about khichdi, a combination of mung and rice, and it's really a great restorative food that you can eat that helps this drawing of excess fluid in the body and passes it through the digestive system and then excretes it. So the other really wonderful thing about them is that when we eat them in the colon, they kind of have this sort of slightly rough texture through the fibre. So it has both soluble and insoluble fibre in it. And they kind of sort of scrub, in a way, the intestinal lining. They help draw out extra mucus and help that to be excreted out of the bowels. And with that, what's really fantastic is it helps the inflammation. It cools and it calms. So one of the things in Ayurveda is if there's ever a fever, for example, during a fever, we recommend that you eat mung beans. So it has this anti-inflammatory effect and this pacifying effect within the digestive system, and that takes the load off of the digestive system and then allows the body naturally to rebalance and rekindle the digestive fire on its own, of its own accord, prompted by taking the pressure and the load out of the system through the eating of the mung beans. So in terms of vitamins, they're great vitamin sources. Vitamins A, C, E. Vitamin C in them particularly increases when we sprout them. The green whole mung beans are brilliant for sprouting. I recommend always purchasing beans that are labelled on the packet as being suitable for sprouting, but we use the whole green mung beans for that. Now, I said that they're mostly suitable for most people and they can tolerate them. However, if the digestive capacity is really weak, and there tends to be a predominance of gas in particular, then we often prefer to recommend the ones that have had their hulls removed. So that's these ones, they're yellow, and these are easier to digest. So they tend to produce slightly less gas. Not that we don't tend to get much gas on eating mung beans, but for people that might be prone to it, we would recommend the yellow, the split mung beans. Now, both types, technically, we don't actually need to soak them. However, for this digestibility of them, and particularly if there's a tendency towards gas, then the split ones, I'd say no more than an hour. When you soak them longer than that, they just kind of go a bit weird. But yeah, sort of no more than an hour, I would say, if you need to at all, but about an hour on those. And then on the mung beans, the whole green ones, when we soak them, this hull starts to be removed. Now, this is where quite a lot of the nutrients are in this hull, and if we've got the digestive capacity, then it's really fantastic to have that whole mung bean and get all the properties of the beans. So just literally a few hours is enough. If you're going to go overnight on them, you'll really start to see that hull start to come off, and then that's starting really the initiation of that process into sprouting. And sprouting itself is awesome and has a whole nother layer of benefits. But if we're going to use them, particularly for this reason of cleansing and clearing the digestive tract, then one of these two varieties, depending on how your digestive functioning is, i.e. how much gas there is in the system. If there's more gas, we go for the ones with the yellow ones, basically the ones with their skins removed. And if the digestive system is good and can take it, then we would keep the green ones. Like I said, not necessarily a long soak, just a short soak, maybe 3 hours tops. And then they're about a sort of 30-ish minute boil. In my book, The Ayurveda Kitchen, I've got a number of recipes where I have incorporated them. Generally, my rule of thumb of what I recommend to people in terms of the use of lentils and beans, if you've historically been a meat eater, or even if you are a meat eater now, to think of them along the lines of mince, and any dishes that you would normally prepare with mince, you can substitute with these kind of beans, and then that tends to open up a whole world of possibilities. If you're into vegetarian cooking already, then you'll most likely already have a lot of familiarity with mung beans and know all about their incredible versatility. They can even be ground, made into flour, and then you can make all sorts of types of pancakes and all sorts of things with them. You can even make sweet desserts with them. Lots of different things we can do with the humble mung beans, but I love the taste of them, and they're like a bowl full of goodness. You just really feel that vibrancy that you get from them when you eat them. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope it gave you told you about a few little things that maybe you didn't know about mung beans. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to give it a like, and as always, feel free to share it with other people, and please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll look forward to being with you again soon.